Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. My name is Gene Jake and this time I'm ranking the games from the Indie Heroes Collection Volume 3. Yep, it's the end of this little run of Indie Heroes ranking videos because I won't be able to do 4 until some point next year. Anyway, when I first got into Evercade, it was during the tail end of the Game of the Month series for Indie Heroes 2. So with this lot, I played them all as they were Game of the Month, and most of these games actually finished in that period. There's only a couple I need to go back and finish, plus the ones that are on the cartridge when it came out. Anyway, starting from worst to best, let's get on with it. And bottom of the pile is Chibi Monster Brawl, or Chibi Monster Fall. There's a 4 in there, I guess it's because it's up to 4 players. And that's where this game falls down. Not that the multiplayer is bad, but the single player is. Multiplayer is okay, my kids played it. Well, really only for about 10 minutes to be perfectly honest, it wasn't great. It's not a bad looking game, there's a charm to it, but yeah, it just isn't engaging single player, and that's how I've played it most. So, bottom of the pile it is. Next up, we have the first of 2 games that are rehashed from Indie Heroes Collection 1. This is Doodle World Redrawn, and it's basically the same game as was on Indie Heroes Collection 1, and they added a double jump, which makes the game even easier, and it wasn't difficult to begin with. I'm really not sure why this was included, there just isn't enough worthwhile to be included here. Next up is Magic & Legend Time Knights, a platformer for the Game Boy Color by Legendary Monkey Magic. You control the titular Time Knights, Magic and Legend, and you can switch between them at any time. One has a melee attack, one has a ranged attack. They do play differently, but really you just want to use a guy with a ranged attack because why wouldn't you? It's a short game, it's moderately fun, although the controls aren't the most responsive. It's a little bit janky as a whole. It just feels very derivative, but hey, it's a complete game and you can have fun with it for maybe 25 minutes until you beat it on your first go. If you bother playing through it on your first go, that is. Next up is Little Tales of Alexandria by Mr. E. It's a top-down adventure for the Game Boy, and it's a strange little game. There's no action in it. You go around talking to people in this, I suppose, apartment block, as the Americans would say, and yeah, go around into the houses, talk to them. There's a few little gameplay annoyances, nothing too major. Yeah, it's a strange one. You kind of have to play it, and yeah, it's barely a game in some respects, and I'm not sure what else to say. It's a weird one, you'll play it, you'll either like it or you won't. This is a bit of an odd one, but it's kind of charming, and it'd be interesting to see what Mr. E could go on to do if he was to make a more fully fledged and more rounded out game. Next up is Skate Cat by SJ Games, the developer of Kubo. This is a charming platformer for the NES. Although it's not the best looking game out there, the music's nice enough. It is a fully fledged platformer. You go through the levels, there's upgrades, there's bosses, there's cutscenes. It is a little bit rough in places, there's some slowdown and things. It's not overly long, but it can be quite challenging in places. Not always for the best reasons, but even so, it's not a bad little platformer, and it'll be interesting to see what they can go on to do next. Next up is Bubble Seahorse Adventures by Hassy Enterprises Incorporated. This game runs natively on the Evercade, so you don't have save states. However, due to the way the lives and continues work, this won't present a problem. You play as a seahorse who blows bubbles. When you hit enemies with the bubbles, they'll be captured in a bubble and rise up, and you can then use those as a platform. It's very Mario inspired, and it's quite an enjoyable little platformer. The graphics are charming, the music can be nice but irritating as well. However, it's over a little bit too quickly. Not a bad game, but it won't last you all that long. Next up is Ore Body Binder's Tale by James Van Hoof. It's a Mega Man style platformer shooty type thing for the NES. It features some nice graphics, some decent music, presents a bit of a challenge but not always for the right reasons. There's also a lot of plot for a game like this. I mean, I found myself skipping a lot of it because, well, who cares, but there's actually a lot of background stuff there, which is quite a nice feature. There's some nice cutscenes as well. Overall, it's not a bad game. The power-ups and everything seem a little bit underwhelming, but overall it's worth a playthrough. Next up is Bone Marrow by PSCD Games. It's a medieval themed puzzle game for the Mega Drive. You select your character, you slide blocks about to match them up in their types and number value, and then you consume them to increase your attack strength, your armour, or even gain health. You also use a similar method to attack enemies. It's very similar to some other games, and it's quite entertaining. The downside is the early levels are a bit too easy and long-winded and drag on, and many people might lose interest at that point. The later levels are much more interesting and challenging. It's a shame it misses the mark a little bit, but there's still a decent game here. Next up we have Thunderpaw by PSCD Games. This is an action platformer for the Mega Drive. You control a dog as he goes to run and gun and platform his way through levels to rescue his parents who have been kidnapped. It's got some quite cute graphics, which although not amazing for the Mega Drive, they're pretty decent. Some good tunes to go along with it. It's fairly standard action platform stuff, however there's a couple of drawbacks. The knockback effect on the gun can make fighting enemies quite irritating at times. It's only a minor annoyance, you get used to it, but it makes things a little bit less enjoyable than they might be. And on each level you have to defeat a certain amount of enemies before you can progress, giving it kind of an exploration feel, but just feels a little bit forced. That said, the bosses can be quite good, the music is decent, and yeah, it's overall, it's a fun but slightly flawed game. Alien Cat 2 Enhanced Edition is the second of the rehashed games from Indie Heroes Collection 1. This one fares better. It's had some graphical enhancement, nothing major. This was a port to the Super Nintendo of the game. The music I think took a hit, I think it just sounded better on the Mega Drive version. And gameplay is pretty much identical, however they've added more levels, which is always a good thing. When a game is as fun as this, more is good. And this is also the point on the card, or in my ranking, where I think all the games from here on up are genuinely good, and they're not kind of good, but they're slightly flawed. These are all genuinely good games. Next up is Big to Small, a puzzle game for the Game Boy Color, developed by MD Steel and published by the Retro Room. This is a deceptively simple puzzler. You move a number of animals and guide them to their food of choice, and do this on every single level. However, the puzzles get very fiendish. If you move an animal in a direction, it keeps going until it hits a wall. So you have to work out the placements and objects to get to their food of choice. And there's a number of very head-scratching puzzles in here as well. It's a good-sized game, and despite the very simple graphics and, simple everything on the surface, there's a really addictive game here as long as you like puzzle games. Some people will just be indifferent to this, however, I really enjoyed it. Next up is Donut Dodo by Pixel Games. This single-screen arcade-style platathon runs natively on the Evercade. It has a look very similar to the arcade games of old, however with a more modern polish, better animation, everything runs a bit smoother. The music is absolutely fantastic, really jolly tunes that suit the action perfectly. It's a really good fun game, good, simple arcade fun. If it had been released in the arcades back in the day, this would have been a hit, I'm sure. Finally, my favourite game off the collection is Choo Choo Mimic by Low Tech Games and Rigged Games. This puzzle game for the NES has you placing icons on the grounds to direct the knights on the levels, these unsuspecting and unwary knights, into the open, willing mouths of a mimic chest. As you can tell, it's got a little bit of a Dungeons and Dragons type inspiration, as well as inspiration from, ripping off, if you like, Choo Choo Rocket from the Sega Dreamcast. Now, it's not quite exactly the same as that, but it's in that style of game. I think the puzzles can get very tricky at times. There's about 100 levels. It's got the usual low-tech sense of humour. Yeah, it's a great game and just hits Donut Dodo as my favourite. Just like the previous two Indie Heroes collections, Indie Heroes 3 is a mixed bag in terms of quality, but just like those, I think the quantity offsets that. However, having two repeated games from Indie Heroes 1 I think does hurt it a little bit. Also the fact that throughout these collections we're seeing a lot of the same developers, and this time around it feels a bit more stale and less varied. So while overall it is a good collection and a cart I would recommend overall, well, if you like the indie games and you don't mind the showcasing of the hobbyists and indie games, then yeah, I'd recommend it. But I'd have to give this a 7 out of 10, slightly lower than the others, because I do feel that it is the weakest of them overall.
Shadows all around, treasure just disguised, not making a sound. Adventurers approach, eyes gleaming with greed. Little do they know I'm the monster they need. Can I eat them? Oh yeah. I'm the mimic chest, surprise attack. Can I eat them? Hell yeah. No golden jewels, just a tasty snack for me. Hell yeah. Heroes come and go, thinking they're so sly, but I snap my jaws and they scream and cry. Hidden in the corner waiting for my prey. Another day, another loot in this endless fray. Can I eat them? Oh yeah. I'm the mimic chest, the surprise attack. Can I eat them? Hell yeah. No golden jewels, just a tasty snack for me. Hell yeah. Night Heroes' whispers echo, I hear them all. They think they found treasure, but it's just a ruse. In the game of dungeons, they always lose. Can I eat them? Oh yeah. I'm the man in chest, a surprise attack. Can I eat them? Hell yeah. No golden jewels, just a tasty snack for me. Hell yeah. I say, sorcerers, they make nice condiments. Rogues are a midnight snack that sneaks into my belly. Knights, they taste just right. Wizards taste like magic. Bards, they're just tragic. Can I eat them? Oh yeah. I'm the man in chest, surprise attack. Can I eat them? Hell yeah. No golden jewels, just a tasty snack for me. Just right. Can I